Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Black in the Saddle. This is an episode that you should listen to if you need a little bit of motivation when you are headed out to the barn, to the pasture, to your horse, and you just need a little bit of oomph to get you going. In this episode, I'm going to talk about silencing your inner bully, your inner critic, and building self-trust that allows you to remember why you got started and why you continue to show up for these animals that we are apparently obsessed with and are a huge part of our own personal journeys. I wanted to give you a bit of an update on my 90-day recommitment plan. Today is day 61, so I'm almost 30 days in to this plan. And if you've been following me on TikTok, you've seen I've been doing 8,000 steps before 8 a.m. And as of recently, with the summer storms, that has not been happening, but I've still been active. I kind of pivoted my strategy there and started weightlifting. So just trying to get my body used to more movement as I start riding again in just a few days when I get back to where my horse is. In this 90-day recommitment plan, what I noticed was that I was doing the work. I was doing the physical work anyway. And I was telling someone about the recommitment plan and how I was excited to get to kind of the horsey part, even though a big part of that is just making sure my trailer is ready, cleaning out my tack room, things like that. I told them how excited I was about that part of things. And one of the things I said was, I know my horse is going to be like, girl, why are you even here? Like, what do we have to do now? Why are you asking me to do this thing? In reflecting on that conversation, I realized that I was starting to tell myself a negative story about what was going to happen when I got back to my horse. And if you've never experienced this, then more power to you. I am happy for you. If you are one of those people that is, self-motivated and just full of life and just full of the thrill and you just love, shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to you. But I'm someone that overthinks a lot. And I realized maybe by the second or third time I had said that, like, my horse is going to be like, girl, get away from here. You don't have snacks, so let's not even do this. By the third time I said that, I was like, wait a minute. How is the story you're telling about how your horse is going to react to new work, increase exercise, having a good time going riding, how is that impacting your excitement or your goals on this 90-day recommitment plan? And I really had to sit and ask myself, like, okay, why is that narrative there? And how can we address it in a way that is more helpful than that? Even if that is the reaction, I don't need to personify this guy, right? I know that he is going to have to go through the same process that I just went through the last 30 days, getting used to these changes. And if it's something that horses are naturally very good at, it is adapting to changes in their environment. I say that historically, I understand like at a day-to-day level, if it's cold and then it's hot, no, they don't react fine. But I'm saying that they learn and they evolve and they adapt, especially when it's over a longer duration of time. And we know this to be true. Despite me noticing these stories that we're starting to come up, this like apprehension almost of what this new, not even new, just return to work, like we're gonna be riding again. Despite me knowing that it's gonna be fine, because I've hopped on my horse when I haven't ridden him in like 6 months and we did great. I know it's going to be fine, but just his attitude towards the partnership, that is just a story that is being made up in my mind based on nothing. Like little brain gremlins. So I just want you to know that you're not alone, right? You're not alone in those stories that pop up in your mind. And I just want you to know that just because those voices in your head are loud, or that story is loud in your mind, it doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it true. And it doesn't mean that you can't stop that story in its tracks. Okay? I am definitely not a therapist, but I do a lot of coaching. And I will say that there are different ways to handle this, right? And to each their own. Sometimes for me, I have to bully the bully back, right? And say, why would you say that? Why would you say that to my friend? My friend being me, right? Because we would never treat someone else like that. We would never say those things to or about somebody else. But we say it to ourselves because there's not any real consequence, right? It's just something that chips away at us time after time. When that's coming up, I'm like, all right, am I going to bully the bully back? Or am I going to talk to someone about it? Or am I going to make it so that I have this like, let's say like R plus, like this positive reinforcement to where I am acknowledging the smaller milestones along the way so that that voice just disappears after a while. And saying all that to say, confidence is not an input. It's not something that you show up with. And if you've been on this equestrian journey long enough, you know that you may have shown up with excitement. You may have shown up with willingness to try, but the actual confidence that you are looking for so that you feel like accomplished, it is not what you show up with. It's the outcome. Confidence is the outcome, not the input. And so when you are going on a new journey or implementing some changes in your life, confidence is built up over time. And I think back to, I was doing the 8K before 8 a.m. and that was working out fine, but I was noticing like it started to feel like I was just meandering, and it was like a 90-minute thing. And I'm like, okay, I should be able to get this done within 90 minutes or shorter than 90 minutes. And I knew that, okay, I've already developed this consistency. I can pivot into doing a different activity and I can still show up consistent. And that pivot just went by so smoothly simply because I was already committed to getting my tail up in the morning and doing this active thing. And also, it doesn't help that my dog was like, finally, something that I want to do. And he is obsessed with walking in the morning. Just like horses build confidence through small, repeated actions over time that have a reward, we are the same way. We learn the same way. And it's just our job to make sure that those things are positive. Now, not only do you have to make sure those inputs, that willingness to try, that showing up, that consistency, that positive attitude are there, but the process that you are going through is going to help you develop more self-trust. I don't even know how this came up, and I feel like I've referenced this on a previous podcast before, but creating small moments of belief. One of my best examples of this is being in like a contest or sweepstakes or something. I have been in just a few of them, but I win. It's this odd like probability, but a lot of times I win. Like I've won, access to training programs. I remember going to the grocery store and it was just remodeled. So they were doing scratch offs and you could win a certain amount off your groceries. I won the max amount, which was like $10, but I was buying dog food, so that worked out. I won the max amount, and it is, as soon as it happened, I was like, yep, that's one of my small moments. Like that fuels that belief that I am a winner. Y'all remember Winner Circle Wednesday? We are winners. And that was just one of those moments that reinforced that belief. And so when you are creating small moments of belief, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to win this whole competition. It's like when I show up, I show out. And every time you show up, you're like, golly, look at me. I have shown up. I have done the doggone thing today. Or every time I go out with my horse, I spend time with them grooming just to like develop their relationship with them and say, we got a good thing going on. And every time you're out there with a horse, you're like, wow, look at this. We got a good thing going on. And even if there's a situation where there isn't something good going on, you say, you know what? This was a hiccup, but we have a good thing going on. Sometimes I think we believe that positivity just happens. If you're not one of those people where it just drips off of you and exudes through your pores, you have to design it into your thinking. And it's annoying and crazy. And like, we really have to think this hard. Like, is it really that serious? I will tell you, I didn't think it was that serious until I needed it. I did not think it was that serious until I needed it. So with those small moments of belief, you would also, like I mentioned before, be acknowledging those smaller milestones and saying, hey, this was good. Just showing up this week was good. If you spend time breaking the milestones into smaller bits and pieces and acknowledging the success there and building in some rewards there, then when you get to those bigger milestones, you'll be so appreciative and the momentum will be able to carry. One of the things that I came across recently from a woman online named Glow Atanmo, you can find her usually on her socials or Glow Graphics. She talked about affirmations in a video that I watched on YouTube, and she said something to me that was like a aha. And it made me think about how we affirm ourselves. And, you can look up generic affirmations like, I am beautiful. I am unique. I am strong. Those aren't really effective. Those aren't that impactful for you. They're just words. And what stood out to me was, I am working on, or I have this thing with Cowgirl Cameron, my children's book series, where we call them affirmations. And we kind of talk about the affirming through language of the land kind of thing. And so that's why this thought stood out to me, was that you have to write affirmations that actually complement or combat the negative self-talk. But if you don't acknowledge where the negativity is coming from, then you're not going to be able to affirm yourself in a way that's actually impactful. And I was like, no wonder it feels dumb to just Google something and be like, yes, I'm going to repeat this to myself every morning. I am beautiful. Okay, but I never thought the opposite. So yeah, that's cute, but that doesn't address a negative self-talk narrative that's happening. I see things online all the time about, rider weight or what your body looks like as a rider on or off the horse, not being a traditional equestrian body type. I've never been in a discipline or with a trainer or with anyone where that conversation has been significant. I don't have that perception challenge, but I know that a lot of people do, especially women who are in the horse world. I know that that is a sensitive subject. And so when you are trying to affirm yourself, to build your confidence, to continue doing this, you have to create the affirmation that combats that negative thought very specifically. In order to do that, you got to be brave enough to acknowledge it. You got to be brave enough to acknowledge the insecurity, the negativity. You got to be brave enough to talk to that bully and say, what is it saying? Because sometimes it's not even a thought. Sometimes it's not even just something that comes through your mind fleetingly. Sometimes it's the stories that you say over and over. Like it was in my case, saying, my horse is not, he gonna be looking at me like, girl, get away from here. No. So I had to confront that bully and say, now, why would you say that? You are a delight. And your intention in building the relationship with him again so that y'all are locked in riding partners is for both of you to have a great time and both of you to be challenged and both of you to learn and have fun. So why would you say that? My affirmation would sound like that, right? It would be, I'm working towards this relationship with my horse so that we are both challenged, we both have fun, and we connect in a way that fulfills both of us. That would be an affirmation that actually matches the negativity that I was experiencing. Thinking about that negative self-talk, it is not to make you feel shameful. It's to help you find a solution so that you don't feel that way any longer. When your inner critic gets loud, listen to this episode again. I purposely wanted to make sure it was on the shorter side so that you could get through it before you got in the saddle. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I would love it if you would share this with someone who might be dealing with some negative self-talk of their own, and they might just need a little bit of motivation before they get back out there. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe on all of the respective places. Leave a review, leave us a rating. Help me get this podcast out to more people who absolutely need it. I will see you all next week.